Hey, how you do, guys? Of course, we got another video this week, and I've been thinking about this for a while, what to do. And so I'm going to actually talk about, for people who are wondering, what is the best format to record in for your video. And primarily going to look at AVCHD versus MP4. Now, this is going strictly from if you're going to be editing the video, color correction, or you're not going to do it. And this is more aimed at perhaps consumer version cameras, even though some of the prosumer and professional cameras actually also use both as well. And we may throw in MOV as well. And we're going to talk a little bit about both and do some comparisons. Now, MP4 is really container format, and which typically, but not always, uses H.264 codec to compress with, even though it can use other encoders as well. Now, AVCHD also mainly uses H.264 for file compression, but usually at about 3 or 4 times the file size compared to MP4. And we're also going to take a look at the reasons why I think, like I said, most consumer devices, phones, and so forth use MP4 file compression, but I always considered MP4 as a final delivery format. And it's because I think most are targeted toward the regular consumer for instant sharing because of its small file size and compatibility on all major platforms, operating systems, and even on the web. And now, anytime I'm doing editing, now I mostly use either a Canon C100. I do also have a Canon XF 100, but I'm mainly talking Canon C100. It only records in AVCHD, so I'm not wild about that file format for a variety of reasons. It's the bit rate is a bit low at 24 megabits per second. There are better file formats out there, of course, ProRes, even I like MXF even a lot better. It has a higher bandwidth. So anytime I'm doing editing, I will, if I have a choice between MP4 and AVCHD, I'm going to pick AVCHD because I believe that file format has better quality. I'm not saying by a whole lot, and typically a little bit better audio as well. And I think it's got a more efficient compression scheme for editing video. And I think also it has a higher quality compared with typical MP4 format because it does have a larger file size, and typically if it has a higher bit rate, it's usually going to have a better video quality. Now, I'm typically talking about in-camera compression. Now, if you're using compression software, it could be Adobe encoder, it could be Apple's compressor, and there's probably dozens out there, Source and Squeeze and so forth. Now, that might be different because you can control the settings, the bit rate, all that. And I mean, you can within the camera up to a point. And some cameras even allow for multiple file formats you can record to, MP4, AVCHD, and even MOV. Now, if you have a camera that will allow you to record in MOV, I would probably choose MOV over AVCHD as well. So that's my thoughts on which typically I like to record in the most. Oh, one more thing. AVCHD tends to not be very, its compatibility with a lot of programs and able to run off different platforms, it's a lot harder. In fact, for a while, I couldn't even import it into Final Cut Pro 10. I had to actually convert it until they finally did an update where I could natively import it. So if you want the maximum, if you want instance sharing, maximum compatibility with anything, stick with MP4. If you're going to be doing a lot of editing, I'd probably stick with AVCHD and then eventually maybe even convert it over or compress it to MP4. So thanks for watching, and I have another video coming up sometime later this week.